Awesome. So we are one. So TC Band. So I want to start off with our, we talk about our ID&E efforts. The first slide I want to look at is really our purpose. And when we look at this for Best Buy, our purpose is truly to enrich lives through technology, right? And that is all lives. That's inclusion, right? Whether you are Black, whether you are white, whether you are a woman, whether you are in Minnesota or in Philadelphia or Toronto, Canada, right? Across the globe. How do we continue to enrich lives through technology? And this is a big part of this, right? We have a big part of our ID&E team, philanthropy, corporate giving. A big part of that is working with our communities. And through the technology aspect, it's a big part of that. Now, when we scale this down, right, to an inclusion, diversity, and equity framework, we have our purpose, which really looks at it from a culture of belonging. And that's once again capitalizes on inclusion. How do we ensure that everyone that steps foot in Best Buy, that everyone that goes into our stores, right, feel connected to our company and feels connected to our brand? We go into our vision, right, where ID&E, or some folks call it diversity, equity, and inclusion, should be embedded, right, into everything we do. And a big part of this embedment is certainly across our business footprint. With the how do we ensure that ID&E is organically integrated across the businesses, across the company. And our vision is also very much aspirational. And then we have our approach, right? How do we move forward into this market? And a big part of that is through collaboration. And also when we look at TC Band, a big part of this is collaboration through development. So that very much ladders up. Our ID&E strategy ladders up to our HR strategy, and our HR strategy ladders up to the wider organizational strategy. So we want to make sure that everything is aligned and in sync as we move forward. The slide you're looking at is really more of our approach and our priorities for our inclusion, diversity, and equity team. I want to take some time, and I should also say this, I have talent acquisition, inclusion, diversity, and equities, because here at Best Buy, we have the talent acquisition pillar, and then we also have the inclusion, diversity, and equity pillar as well. And we ensure that from a talent perspective, from a hiring, until you leave Best Buy, that ID&E is certainly integrated. So we break this down, I'll hone in on the approach, which is our people, business, and our community. And our people is really, looks at it from a place of our employees, right? Folks here at the corporate office, right? Folks, if you're in retail at a store in Toronto, if you're a stakeholder, our customers, right? So all that looks at if you're in our distribution centers, our entire Best Buy footprint, how do we ensure that everyone feels the culture of belonging and feels that they are connected to this place and also connected to our brand as well, even within our customers, our commercials, and the list continues to go on. The business, which I said earlier, we have to ensure that ID&E or DEI is integrated into everything we do. I always say that it should not only be the ERGs, right, doing this work. It's impossible. The company is too big for that. It can't only be the ID&E team doing this work. The company is too big for that. It can't only be HR doing this work, but it has to be strategically integrated across the entire business just to ensure that we get the business results that we're looking for. And finally, I mentioned the community part. We also cannot have a company without recognizing and embracing the community. We have thousands of employees that come into this place or into our stores across our global footprint every day, right? And we cannot expect them to only come to work and be who they are, but the community is part that they bring into this space. So how do we ensure that we are also acknowledging and embracing the community, and certainly giving back and looking at it from a representation standpoint? The priorities is more just below, which I won't focus on too much, but more of how our team, as I stated earlier, of how our team is structured. Going to take about 4 minutes. There is a ID&E video, which really speaks a lot about messages that our employees shared, like how is belonging here at Best Buy, or how does ID&E impact them at the company? So just about a 4-minute video, and let's try to play this. Abel, I may need your technical assistance with this if I don't get it done. Let's try this. Oh, I guess there it is. Okay, that's good.
You know, the work of really building an inclusive culture, it really starts with all of us.
You know, being here for 21 years, I've seen quite an evolution in how this company approaches inclusion and diversity.
I feel like I belong at Best Buy.
One of the toughest things to be in corporate America is your authentic self.
Diversity makes our team stronger just by having unique representation of different groups, different points of view, different experiences.
It's actually a culture of belonging.
It's a top of mind thing for our customers.
But it goes beyond a strategy. And I think that's where we're creating something different.
Everyone, no matter what their background, their religion, anything, they should feel like they have a place.
Representation matters. We really want to make sure that we mirror the environment we want to create.
If we all took a step back and said, I want to enjoy coming to work every day, whether that's in the corporate office or in a store or in a distribution center, everybody would say yes.
The uniqueness is what makes us powerful. Their uniqueness is what makes us special.
When you have that and you start building that within your culture, it extends to the customers.
We have 4 distinct groups that, while aligned on key principles of developing a deep sense of belonging, creating platforms to practice allyship, and raising cultural perspectives, they each represent their constituencies in a different, meaningful way.
An ERG is an employee resource group.
A community of individuals that have either a shared identity or a willingness to learn about a shared identity.
To be able to create an opportunity for representation.
Each ERG has a different focus.
Everybody and anybody can join an ERG. You don't have to identify with that group to be a member. It's a very inclusive space.
Being a part of the Black Employee Resource Group has really enriched my life.
I'm currently the chair of the Pride Employee Resource Group.
I'm currently part of the Disabilities ERG.
I belong to the Latinx ERG.
You can actually connect on a personal level about things that is happening within your world.
A FIN is a focused inclusion network.
That gives you a space to learn and to share.
It is a common interest group.
There's photography FIN, there's natural employee wellness FIN.
Families Focus Inclusion Network.
We have a fin in regards to people that are interested in cycling.
There is always a group for everybody.
The PDG is a professional development group. What I love about this group is it's actually cross-generational. They get behind and support the development and the advocacy of others to achieve their aspirations and their goals.
An IDISC is an Inclusion and Diversity Steering Committee. IDISCs are focused on driving diversification of our teams by creating inclusive cultures, building allyship, and really focusing on our hiring and retention practices.
Through these resource groups, you're going to find a different path, you're going to create relationships, and you're going to continue to grow your knowledge and grow your experience with the company.
We are a change company.
Are we in a great spot right now? Absolutely, but there is always work to be done.
I think that inclusion and diversity will become a part of just what we do.
Having the right practices in place to ensure that it does on a consistent basis, that is heavy lifting and hard work, but one that this company has signed up to do and one that the people are more than capable of doing.
It's bringing your emotional self to work. It's bringing your cultural self to work.
It's all of us really understanding the value of appreciating the difference that we all bring to the table.
They produce the best results, right? Like, we're invested in the company.
I get that sense of community. I get that sense of belonging.
I personally see more Native Americans in leadership.
My diversity doesn't mean I'm different. My diversity means that I'm me, and that is the most powerful tool that you have.
I really think inclusion and diversity is becoming a business imperative.
As the needs of our nation have changed, the needs of our employees have changed, the expectations, quite frankly, of our customers have changed.
Awesome. So you were able to hear more around inclusion, diversity, and equity here at Best Buy. Okay, I'll soon wrap up and turn it over to Carla, but going into our inclusion groups, right? So we call them EIGs, Enterprise Inclusion Groups. And this slide here really just speaks about the principles, right? We speak about a culture of belonging across all of our employee resource groups. We talk about platforms. How do we engage? How do we ensure that all of our employees, once again, across the entire Best Buy footprint, would have a tool that they can actually engage and upskill that, once again, connect in a sense of belonging. We talk about cultural differences and embracing that. A big tool we use is the IDI, the Intercultural Development Inventory, to also measure that as well. We always share that our goal here as a company, even when we look at from an intercultural development standpoint, is really to move everyone at Best Buy from a place where we not only tolerate human differences, but to a place now where we actually embrace those human differences. And finally, we look at it from a place of leadership development. How do we ensure that our C-suite, how do we ensure that our directors, vice presidents, managers, specialists, everyone across Best Buy have the skills and the tool sets to help lead culturally diverse and high-performing teams. Early in the video, you would have seen Sean spoke about our Best Buy inclusion groups. And these is based, the slide that you see in front of you is more of that structure that Sean spoke about. We have our employee resource groups that look from a place of culture, belonging, and allyship, so our ERGs. We go into, we call it our FINs, which is our focus inclusion networks. And this more focused from a place of beliefs, right? This focus from a place of hobbies and passions. And then finally is the Inclusion and Diversity Steering Committee. It's better known as the IDISC. And that's a strategic integration. How do we ensure diversity, equity, and inclusion is integrated across the business footprint so we can ensure that we continue to move in this best-in-class metric and framework. And once again, this entire structure adds into being the best place to work. More into the tactical framework of our enterprise inclusion resource groups. For our employee resource groups, we have 9 of them. You would see them from military to women's, Asian, Black, Indigenous, list continues to go on. Our focus inclusion networks, we have 21 of them. I said that's more from the hobbyist standpoint. And then from our inclusion and diversity steering committees, we have 19 of them. So basically in the territories, Best Buy Health, HR, and the list continues to go on. So I think in essence, we have about 49 to 50 inclusion groups. What I do also want to share in the deck with our inclusion groups is our focus inclusion networks before I go into my final slide. But this slide here more just share for our FINs, what's the breakout? What's the breakdown of those hobbies? What's the breakdown of those interest groups, right? So we break them out into alumni networks. We broke them out into faith and family. Health and wellness, and also skills and interests. Because once again, to be the best place to work, how do we support our employees? How do we ensure that we provide systems and platforms that they are able to bring themselves? How do we ensure that we integrate the community into the place to work, once again, to be the best place to work? So that's how we break those up. And the final slide that I really want to share is our ID&E awards and recognition, something that we continuously talk about in our ID&E Center of Excellence is how do we be best in class? How do we be an innovator? How do we ensure that we are serving all of our employees on best practices? And we have certainly upskilled with our surveys and recognition. Kirsten in the back, she really leads our survey strategy for our ID&E practice. And what we do is we engage with these surveys. We get feedback externally, right? We travel to gain best practices. And how do we ensure that we bring those practices in as a company? We have to go out to bring it in, especially in a way, as we all are aware, in the wake of the shifting landscape around inclusion, diversity, and equity. We want to make sure that with that shift, we are still operating on excellence as we continue to serve and support all of our employees. So with that said, without any further ado, I'll turn it over to my partner in crime, Carla, to share more of our employee resource groups frameworks.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Carla Robinson, and I have the pleasure and honor of serving as the Black ERG chair for the last couple of years. I've been heavily engaged in the Black ERG since I came to Best Buy, and in actuality, my introduction to the Black ERG was helping to support TC Band and serving on the board. That was kind of my foray into leadership, and here I am as the chair, so welcome. I just want to share with you a little bit more about the Black ERG, our purpose, mission, and our priorities for this year. So our main goal is really to foster community and support and serve as a voice for our Black employees. Subsequently, we take a holistic approach and create a sense of belonging, develop psychological safety, mental well-being, and cultivate critical professional skills necessary to ensure success and career advancement at Best Buy. And our primary goal is to make sure that we are supporting Best Buy's ID&E team and driving equitable representation and an inclusive experience for all of our employees. I'm not going to really drain this slide, but we basically do this in 3 different ways. We invest in our members to drive greater engagement. We also grow and maintain cross-functional partnerships, and that's within Best Buy as well as with external partners. And then we want to strengthen our community ties, and we usually do this by partnering with our social impact team, our community engagement team, and then different organizations across the Twin Cities and across the country where we can have an impact. And so next, I'll just go into a little bit of how does that come to life? What does it look like? So we focus on 4 different areas of things that we provide to our membership. So we do skills development training, and these things are happening across the course of a given year. We do these usually monthly. So we do also have employee benefits and resource education. So we have lots of different partners internally that we work with, such as LinkedIn Learning, Strayer University, Capella. They offer different trainings and resources that we'd like to make sure that our employees know about that so that they can utilize all the things that Best Buy has to offer to really improve their overall employee engagement. We also have different membership engagement things that we do. So we just recently had a book club focused on Dare to Lead by Brene Brown, and that was a really big hit across our membership. We have social hours. We just had an amazing fun social hour where we did Black Music Month trivia. That was lots of fun. We do new member meet and greets, health and wellness challenges, and then we also provide a monthly newsletter to keep our members engaged of things that they may have missed and things that are coming up. We do some community engagement. We have community partner events, and so we do a lot of this, like I said, in partnership with social impact and our community engagement team. And so some of the things that we do are what we're doing today, TC BANDD. We have partnerships with National Association of Black Accountants. We have partnership with Blacks in Tech. And then we also are members of the Minnesota Coalition for Black Racial Equity, where we participate in their events as well. We do volunteer and fundraising activities for different organizations. So a couple of the fundraising things that we've done where we've been able to tap across our membership have been, we did a UNCF fundraiser, and then we also did a fundraiser for the George Floyd Memorial when they were trying to stand that up and get some funding going. And then we also have an opportunity to provide sponsorship for different organizations across the country as well. So this is something we haven't necessarily really tapped into, but we are going to tap into it this year. So there'll be about 1 or 2 organizations that we'll be partnering with to create some sponsorship opportunities. And then last but not least, we have signature events that they're coming every year, whether we like it or not, we're going to do them and we're going to be there. So Black History Month, we have events pretty much from all of these different areas that happen over the course of February. So that's a very busy month for us, very active. We usually have something around Juneteenth and Black Music Month in June. And then we have development days. So we've done this very differently. We've had 1 day of training from start to finish. We've had a couple of days. And this year we've decided to do a series of events for our membership. So we'll have some financial literacy. We'll have sessions over the course of 3 months this year for our employees to engage in. We have to be creative and constantly trying to find ways to make sure that our members stay engaged because we all have capacity issues because everybody's busy. And we want to make sure that we provide a gateway so that everyone can find a way to participate in our events. And then we are usually a big sponsor of the MLK breakfast, and we attend that every year. So that's pretty much a a look into how we operate our Black ERG, I will say that the Black ERG has been such an important part of my employee experience at Best Buy that I always encourage people internally, if I've not met you and I see you and I'm like, why aren't you in the Black ERG? Please come and join us. We do such great things. So if you're an employee here and you're not involved in the Black ERG, please come and join us. If you're an employee at a company that has a Black ERG and you're not involved, please join your Black ERG. And if you're at a company that doesn't have an ERG, please continue to come to TC Band, because this is the Twin Cities Black ERG. And it is an opportunity for you to get community, meet people, network, and just have a place where you can be yourself. So I just encourage you to enjoy the day. And if you have any questions about Best Buy or Black ERG, there's several people here that know all about it. Miranda's up there in the tan dress. She can answer your questions. I can answer your questions, Neo, or any of the Best Buy team. So thank you for your time.